Hello everybody, it's Owen here, and this is my fourth film collection selection. Not done one of these in a while, so I'd had one or two people saying if I was going to do another one, and I thought, yeah, I fancy doing one now, so I'll get right to it. First film is Twilight Samurai by a guy called Yoji Yamada. Also made a film called The Hidden Blade, and another one. I think it's almost like this is part of an unofficial samurai trilogy with The Hidden Blade. The third film, sorry, I can't remember what that's called. By a guy, yeah, as I said, by a guy called Yoji Yamada. And it's set in Japan. It's set pre-industrialized Japan. I think it's about the 19th century, and it's pre-developed Japan, and before Japan has opened its borders to the rest of the world. And it's about a man who works as a retainer for a local dignitary, but his wife has died, and she's left him with a family and his elderly mother who's senile. So basically, the film is about him bringing up his family and the difficulties it causes for him, because he works as a retainer, but the fact that he has to do his wife's job, and he has to bring in money to the family in quite a sort of strict society, in the way that everybody has their roles, and he's forced to take two roles as part of this family, which means certain things have to take a back seat. Namely his own welfare and his own sort of well-being, and but also his own ambitions and sort of his own sort of personal needs and wants. And that's why it's because of those reasons that the character is actually one of my favourite cinema characters. It's just all about sort of he puts his own sort of his own desires sort of to the back. They're the least of his priorities. The thing is, he's a retainer, but his workmates or colleagues refer to him as Sir Twilight, because of that's sort of a derogatory term because of his appearance, and his dirty clothes and things. But that's all because of his sort of because he hasn't got the resources or the time to look after himself. But also his ambitions have been put on the back burner because he fails to tell his people he works with of his background as a tutor at a local a well-known fencing college or sword fighting school. And that's what forms part of the story, and that's how it comes to an end. Oh, sorry, I won't give that away, don't worry. But it has some really nice fight scenes in it. They're the sort of realistic fight scenes. They're over in a fraction of a second, but they're really nicely choreographed. And that's another thing about the character, is he doesn't actually carry a sword. He practices. And he practices with and carries it's like a dummy sword made out of wood, and it's only as a last resort that he ever decides to carry a sword, because he knows if he carries a sword of what repercussions that could have for him and his family. He obviously doesn't want to leave his family without any form of support, because of his dedication to his children. And another part of the story is that his own personal his love life gets put on the back burner. But it's a really noble film and really nicely done and looks great. Ride with the Devil, and I could watch this over and over again. It's set in the American Civil War, and it's basically two men whose families are parents' families or members of their families are killed by Union jayhawkers, and so they join a group of Confederate irregulars called Bushwhackers, you know, like the old WWF tag team. And the authenticity in this, I'm guessing, people who know more about American history will probably maybe be able to correct me, but I'm guessing the authenticity in this is the utmost. It's made by Ang Lee, you know, everybody knows Ang Lee. The Hulk, Brokeback Mountain, or the Ice Storm, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Ang Lee, yeah. And it's about friendship and nobility and loyalty. Loyalty is a big part of this film. Loyalty and sort of the grey areas in a war situation. And it's got one of these two friends who join up with the Bushwhackers. They meet a guy he's has a companion, but his companion's he's black, but he fights with them, which I like that grey area that creates. It's this character here. He's called Holt. He's one of the coolest cinema characters going, and he basically fights with this guy who's grown up with. He was the son of a slave of this guy's family, but he's grown up with him. They've almost become friends. It's sort of like unrecognised friendship and loyalty, and he fights purely out of loyalty. Looks fantastic. Ang Lee's cinematography in Ang Lee's films is always unsurpassed. He's got a really good grasp of nature and how to capture the huge vistas, and some incredible fight scenes in this battles. Almost like recreations. That's how they're approached. Sort of like the pop and the crackle of battle recreations, rather than the sort of like the over the top sort of gun balletics. But got a really natural sense of humour as well, and authenticity. It's just one of my favourite films. It's Ride with the Devil. I'll do these two together because of the packaging. How similar they look. One's Oldboy by Park Chan-wook, and the other one's a Bittersweet Life by Kim Ji-woon. And they're quite different. That's one of the reasons I picked them. Oldboy, just pretty dark film, just totally unique. Park Chan-wook's films are totally unique. Part of the Vengeance trilogy. I think it's the second part of the Vengeance trilogy. First was Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, and the third one was Lady Vengeance. This one's probably the most well known, and I think it's what brought Park Chan-wook to a Western audience, a major Western audience. And it's about a man who, after one drunken night, gets kidnapped and put in a cell for, I always forget, it's 15 years, I think it is. Yeah, 15 years. And he's never told why, and eventually he's released, but he's gassed every night, and he's put to sleep every night, and his things are done to him, and it's like the sort of Hitchcock it's a sort of a really dark take on a Hitchcock conspiracy, and things reveal themselves at the end, and it's just it's got a really incredible visual sort of inventiveness. It's not a really westernised visual inventiveness. It's something totally unique to a Western audience, but it's incredible. Excellent film. Really violent and really dark, and there's one bit where he eats an octopus live. But, I mean, if you've got to watch the film, watch it just for that. And A Bittersweet Life, I'm coming to the end, so I'll do this one quick. A Bittersweet Life. This is sort of more palatable for a Western audience, but it's got sort of slightly more balletic gunplay. It's sort of I would say John Woo crossed with Quentin Tarantino. It's got the Quentin Tarantino's visual inventiveness. It's about this character who's basically a thug, an assassin for a a gang boss, and he's dedicated, and you know he does everything for this gang leader, but he's given one job where he has to take out a woman, but he decides to let her go, and because of that makes him a target, and it's like it's sort of John Woo crossed with Quentin Tarantino's sort of visual inventiveness. It's got the sort of the incredible visceral gunplay and the kinetic gunplay, but it's that maybe might be doing it a disservice, because I think it's more unique than that, but it's less unique compared to Oldboy, because nothing's more unique than Park Chan-wook's films. That's what sets them apart. But I would put this on a par. This is probably more accessible than Oldboy and the other Park Chan-wook films. So it's A Bittersweet Life by Kim Ji-woon. There you go, 4 films. I'm going to cut off here because I'm coming up to 11 minutes and I'm not going to have to do this again. So thanks for watching.